All right, lesson number 9, creating a culture of celebration. This one may seem odd, but this actually, to me, once again, comes in a big way. So why do we celebrate things? We celebrate things because to say what's important, that these things are important to us, they're worth our time and effort. That this person whose birthday we're celebrating, we value that person, we love that person, we want to, celebrate them, and we want to say, hey, you're important to us. That's part of what we're doing. Because think about it, if somebody doesn't misses your birthday, you feel like they don't think you're important. And so same thing with holidays. We celebrate them because we say they're important. That for a Christian, like Christmas is important, the day of Jesus' birth. For a Jew, Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. That's a big deal. That's a big day in the Jewish calendar. Ramadan is big in the Muslim calendar. Or whatever holiday you may be celebrating, like you're saying these things are important. And so when we don't have a culture of celebration in our classroom, we allow our students to decide what's important. We allow our students to decide, hey, this is what matters and not this. So, like, I remember having a class where, in their mind, what was important was getting by, passing. And, if everybody made C's, they were happy because they decided that was what was important. So, I had to come back in and say, no, 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 no. We're going to celebrate these things. This is what's important. Giving kudos for these things, and really trying to not just, the best and brightest, those really studious ones, they're still going to make their A's. But when one of the kids in the middle moves up, celebrate that, push it. I'm trying to say what's important in my classroom. And for me, this has been a huge growth area for me over the years because I grew up in a family where we didn't really celebrate things a whole lot. We did birthday dinners and birthday presents. Basically meant going out to the restaurant of your choice, opening a couple presents, and maybe having a cake. Just it's not that big of a deal around our house. Um, and so for me, I've had to really learn and grow in this because, like I said in an earlier lesson, I'm not this naturally just bubbly, outgoing, celebratory person. I tend to be very reserved, other than my sarcasm and my silliness. But I do tend to be more reserved. And so this is something I've had to work on because I see it as critically important that I'm celebrating those things which I think are important. And it can vary from kid to kid. That, I had a student who he was in pre-cal, he was a senior, and he had to pass my final exam to graduate. And he was busting his butt reviewing. He was a weak student. He probably worked hard for that 70. Um, but when he passed that exam, I graded his exam first. And as soon as I saw that he passed, I called his mom and we celebrated on the phone, because that was important. That was valuable. And so that's why I should celebrate. And so moving that from, celebrating an exam that he passed, gets to graduate, to moving that into the school year. What do I think is important? Do I think it's important when a kid's growing emotionally? Like, because I used to be that one who kids who never turn in homework and then they turn in their homework and I'm like, finally, doing what you're supposed to be doing. They're like, I don't get any kudos for that. I'm like, no, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Like that was my response. And how encouraging is that to keep turning in their homework? Not. But if I have a kid who's struggling on something like turning in homework and he turns in 2 homeworks in a row, and I'm going to be like, dude, way to go. Keep rocking it. Like that's where I've had to grow, to acknowledging that, for you, this is growth. For you, this is improvement. I'm going to celebrate this because this is important. That's what I'm doing. I'm communicating to that kid, hey, I see you, and I think it's important, and I'm excited. Let's keep going. That's what I'm communicating, because I don't want it to be, just celebrating these. I want to celebrate this growth. That plant's still not full grown, but it's better than where it started. That's what's important to me. Growth, improvement. That's what I'm looking for. So for that kid who's a C student who starts making B's, celebrate it. For that, kid who normally freaks out when they make a mistake, and they don't freak out when they make a mistake. You're like, hey, do you see that? Do you see that? That kid who's normally like talking during class and then manages to make it through a class without talking, celebrate it. Say something. Just what you think's important in your class. When you bring attention to it and you celebrate it, and you say, now once again, I'm not talking like celebrating like woo woo, like doing a party or something like that. I'm just make mention of it, make it obvious, make it important. That's celebrating it. Once again, I mean, it's communicating to the kids of like, wow, Mr. Anderton's for me. Mr. Anderton's with me. And when they get an idea of what's important, when they really take hold of that and they make it their own, your engagement's going to go up. Their learning is going to improve. Your teaching job is going to get a whole lot easier. You're going to have more energy when you go home. You're not having to work so hard at school. Um, all the things ripple out. Not just off of this one thing, but I really feel like this lesson, this idea of celebrating, a culture of celebration fits with all the other ones. And that's really what we're trying to do. So, for your action step, think about what you want to celebrate in your classroom. What's important to you? Like I said, for me, it's primarily growth of any variety. Looking for where a kid's growing and then explicitly saying something about it instead of just keeping it to myself. Because that's, I tend to like, I'll see it and I'll be like, hey, that's pretty cool that he did that. But then I'll keep my mouth shut, let it out, say something to that kid. I remember, this girl I talked about, who I had a couple of years ago, who she really grew throughout the year, to pull her aside in between classes and be like, I've really seen you grow. It's been exciting to watch. I'm really proud of what you've done. And to see that smile light up her face. And then I was on carpool duty, and her mom picked her up the next day. And so I walked up and I stopped the mom, and I had the same conversation with her mom, which was like, I'm so excited to see how much she's grown and what she's doing. And that mom was beaming, the girl was beaming, because I took a moment to speak into it, because I decided what was important, and I chose to speak into it. For me, that's celebrating, speaking into those situations, making them important. And so decide what you want to celebrate. Decide what you want to say is important in your classroom, and then make concerted effort to how can you speak into it? How can you bring attention to it and make it important? So that's lesson 9. I look forward to seeing you in lesson 10.